Imagine with me, if you will. You're walking down a hiking path to your vehicle as it's getting darker, and you see a fire up ahead. You come up to the fire, and there's people dancing around and saying words maybe you don't understand. You try to go past unnoticed, but a couple of them say hello. One even offers a flashlight in case it gets darker faster than you can get to your vehicle. There's nothing to worry about. They're just 21st century Wiccans celebrating the summer solstice. Fear can lead to a lot of misunderstanding. I myself do not know much about Wiccans or their religion or witchcraft per se, but I feel like with information and some work, I can inform you, just as I've learned, about some information about them. I will do this by first discussing the beginning of Wicca, the persecution of witchcraft, and I'll also highlight their beliefs and characteristics that are enclosed within the religion. So if you're ready to begin, let's start. In 1951, England repealed its witchcraft laws, and in 1954, a man named Gerald Gardner published his book, Witchcraft Today. Essentially, it just stated to the world that witchcraft does exist, and that even through all the trials and hangings, it is still going strong. According to the book, Exploring Wicca, The Rites, Rituals, and Beliefs by Lady Sabrina, the reason that witchcraft has survived the millennials is because its philosophies are so fluid, able to change, adapt, and contribute to the social structure of the time. In 1986, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals reaffirmed that Wicca is a religion and that it is protected under the First Amendment rights. It has even gotten defended by the ACLU in certain times when religious persecution was deemed happening at the time. Prior to his book and reaffirming it as a religion, sorcery and witchcraft scared people. In 1604, a law was actually passed that made witchcraft punishable by hanging. Prior to this, it was a 1-year prison sentence. There was also a book created called The Witch's Hammer. It described witches, their sorcery, and how to counter-react, and even how to try and punish witches, giving inquisitors throughout the land the power to destroy witches. This eventually passed over to Salem, Massachusetts, where there was a lot of trials and quite a few deaths. And unfortunately, after all this had happened, people had come out and said, I have made this up. I lied. And it got to the point where fear of witches, according to the Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft, had grown so much that a boy's dog who had become aggressive towards some girls was eventually tried and convicted of witchcraft and hung. It wasn't until 1793 that the last witch hanging had occurred, and apparently it occurred in Poland. Now that we've examined the history of witchcraft, from which Wicca draws its traditions, and the events that responded to witchcraft, the persecution and the hangings, let's look into their characteristics and beliefs. Wiccans do not have a set book or person of whom they consider the highest. They have passed word to word from person to person, and generally the books they have are based on their own experiences. The way they get these experiences is by becoming all-inclusive with nature, being out, seeing things happen, leaves change color. They believe in the 4 elements, fire, air, earth, and water. And generally these elements can be construed into almost anything, such as fire can represent energy, such as photosynthesis in plants. An important structure for the Wiccans is the Wiccan Rede, which according to Wicca.org states 8 words the Wiccan Rede can fulfill. If it harm none, do as you will. They do not believe in a sin or a hell. They believe in enjoying all of life and its pleasures, experiencing as much as possible, and furthering themselves in knowledge and spirituality. And as far as death, they do not fear mortality. They realize that everything has to cease eventually. They do believe in reincarnation. However, they disagree on if it's going to be an animal, or as the influential high priest Raymond Buckland said, a human soul reincarnates into the same species many lives over in order to learn lessons in advanced spirituality, which is essentially exactly what the religion is about, advancing themselves. So as you can see, the religion is pretty open. It allows for personal growth and discovery. They want you to go out and experience things and see things, and they incorporate elements into a lot of things. As long as you don't do any harm, generally the practice you are doing is considered okay. In my research, I learned a lot of information, more than I could ever put in this speech. By showing the history of witchcraft, which from Wicca draws its traditions, and what beliefs and characteristics they have, and also what persecution witchcraft has gone through the ages to be able to be here today. You can definitely see how this religion has definitely come a long way. I hope that you take away this information, and maybe next time you see a bonfire and some people are dancing around it and laughing, maybe you should just give them their flashlight back, because I'm sure they miss it by now. Thank you very much.